They're burning alive and not moving. I just
Have
don't
you ever
really
been burned
get it.
alive?
I've been burned.
It hurts.
Very much. It takes a lot of fortitude to not move.
Yeah, they used to have to tie people down for that.
to a stake.
Yeah. You're on Midnight Local, the podcast from How to Drink, where we just talk about things.
Movies.
Pop culture.
Maybe some video games.
That too. All the things.
The things. The stuff and things.
All of the stuff and the things on Midnight Local.
Let's get to it.
We're going to talk about the eating the rich. You want to eat them?
Yummy, yummy dinner.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the thing.
Have you eaten any rich?
It's an uncomfortable conversation for me because right up front, my mom's side of the family, my grandfather owned a business, and I'm not going to say we're like wealthy like these people were, but very comfortable. Very comfortable. Like in the menu by his parameters of college debt.
Right.
He was like, sorry, you're dying. Would have been dead.
That would have been you.
I was very privileged in having college paid for.
I would have lived.
Yeah.
Except that he also killed everybody.
Except for the main character's name that I don't know.
Margot.
Margot.
Who's not
Yeah,
Margot.
except for Margot.
Not Margot.
But she had to work her way out. But I guess like we should talk about.
Should talk about it all.
Yeah, we should.
We're going to talk about a couple movies tonight. Basically, it's recent releases that are about eating the rich. I don't know. It could go some other places.
The movies that we chose to watch were Triangle of Sadness and Menu. Both movies that came out in 2022.
Right.
Both had Oscar buzz. Also, Triangle of Sadness won the Palme d'Or.
Why?
I don't know, but like,
why?
What are some past Palme d'Or winners? Like, I don't know
that's
that.
a good question. I don't know. What's it nominated for in the Oscars?
Best Picture,
Yeah.
amongst other things.
So, I mean, there's a whole conversation to be had about the fact that, well, I feel like I'm going to give away my review of Triangle of Sadness right now, but there is a whole conversation to be had about the fact that Best Picture winners tend to be bad movies.
Well, and the Oscars themselves, like
when we look at, the long view of history,
yeah,
Best Picture winners are not the classic films going back throughout time that people are like, ooh, you got to see that. That's
Yeah.
a Best Picture winner.
What are your overall feelings about the Oscars?
It doesn't need to be televised.
Okay.
It's like a club set of awards for a club. I don't give it. Why do you care?
I guess I would agree with that, except for the fact that as a kid, like I was so into the Oscars.
You were.
I was like the red carpet. We made a night of it. It was like the Super Bowl at my house. Like we watched it.
Oh wow, no, not at all.
I would get super excited about it. As an adult, not so much.
We watched it like a couple of times growing up, but it wasn't like a big deal. It was just, we'll watch the Oscars. I think my mom tried to like make it a big deal, but she tried to make it a big deal like 5 minutes before it was on. She's like, oh, the Oscars are on tonight. We'll do Oscar
Something
watch.
to do.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, oh boy, the Oscars are in 45 days.
Oh, no, I bought the People magazine the week leading up.
Oh, that's wild.
Looked at all the outfits and all the past outfits.
Your family could afford magazines.
Yes. Yeah.
This is where I talk about how like I would have been a comic book kid, except that would have required regularly spending money on comic books.
Is that an expensive hobby? I guess
no, but you need to have somebody who's an adult actually have an interest in making it happen.
Sure. As an adult, though, more and more, I've become much more cynical about the Oscars.
Yeah. Well, anyway, this is all off topic. Let's talk about, I guess we could talk about Triangle of Sadness first. Which one did you like better? We'll start there.
The Menu.
You like the Menu better? I feel like I have less to say about that, so let's do that.
Okay. I just thought the Menu was, first of all, it's a tighter runtime by a long shot, by like a half hour, I'm pretty sure.
Here's what I'm going to say. I have less to say about it because I liked it more.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
I guess that would be your benchmark. Is Greg mad at this movie? No, he probably kind of liked it.
Yeah, I don't have a lot to say about it. It's good. It's okay. I mean, do we need to get the stats in here? The specs? Who was it? Let's get into the specs.
Let's get into it. All right. So the Menu, stats.
Stat me up.
All right. So 107 minutes,
107.
which is an hour and 50.
Yeah, it's long.
Anything between an hour and a half and 2 hours, I'm good. I know you like the clean hour and a half.
Yeah, man. Give me 90 minutes. I'm used to like pre-code 3-reelers that are like an hour to an hour and 20 tops. And like they do a lot with that time.
That's an episode of television nowadays.
Yeah. And TV, nothing happens. Nothing happens in
It's
an episode
true.
of television. They can't do a fucking nothing.
Until the last 3 episodes, and then everything happens.
Yeah, like TV is a scam, dude. You guys, you're getting scammed watching TV. Nothing good happens on TV.
So this is directed by Mark Millard,
Marky boy, Mark Millard.
Ray Fiennes.
Rafe.
I said Ray Fiennes.
I
I didn't say Ralph.
I thought you said Ray.
Ray Fiennes.
Fiennes.
I sort of run his name together.
Yeah, it's hard not to.
Yeah,
It's
because
Rafe
otherwise,
Fiennes.
yeah, and I don't want to do that. Rafe Fiennes. Ray Fiennes.
I like him a lot.
I do too.
He seems like a cool guy. Seems like a good actor.
For me, he's the most recognizable actor in the movie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really know.
Holt. The boy.
Oh, and John Leguizamo.
Oh yeah, John Leguizamo.
Sure.
Sure,
Yeah.
but what's his Christopher Holt or the boy? Nicholas Holt. I recognize him. I know him.
What do you know him from?
Well, a lot of people know him now. He was in I'm not a huge fan of the Mad Max Forquel, the reboot of Mad Max.
Yes, and I am.
He's unrecognizable in that. But he's also in this show that I think you would love called The Great. Have you seen that?
You've told me to, and I it's on my list.
He is wonderful in that show. He is wonderful in that show. Everything about that show is wonderful.
Who does he play?
He plays the Emperor.
Okay.
The deposed Emperor.
I'm excited to see that show.
It's a great show.
It's one
The
that
Tsar. I should say the Tsar.
I think about it and then it flutters away. I have to like write it down somewhere.
Yeah.
Watch The Great.
I want everybody to watch The Great, but I also want you to know that they're not lying when they say it is an occasionally true story. And then in season 2, when they say it is a wildly untrue story, both of these things are the subtitles of each season, because you should not get your history from The Great. It does not even come close to resembling any truth, even emotional truth.
Okay, I was gonna say, does it smell like the history?
No, it doesn't even smell like the history.
They're just having fun.
No, yeah. I suppose like if you really stick with it long enough, you get to see Catherine sort of become maybe the villain of the story. But like up until that moment, like the show really wants you to be on her side. Yeah.
I'm very into this idea and I very much want to watch it.
I mean, like at one point they build a fucking roller coaster.
That's incredible.
Like they build a wooden roller coaster for fun.
We'll have to do an episode on it when we watch
good.
it.
The show is so good.
So really, I mean, they get into it pretty quick. You've got your cast of characters getting onto the boat.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
if you've seen any marketing for the movie, you know that what you're in for.
Yeah, and one of the things I thought was really interesting too is that like doesn't he make some comment on the boat on their way to the restaurant? They gotta go to this restaurant on a boat. He makes some comment to Margot, whom at this point we believe is his girlfriend, that it's like $1,200 a plate or something, right?
Which she sort of balks at.
Yeah, but like only $1,200 a plate.
Oh, really? What would you expect it to be?
This is so exclusive. You know,
Right.
You've got a room of like 15 people who get to have dinner. What, like once a month this place is open? Right? Like
Yeah.
I forget there was like he broke it down and I was like, there's no way that that's enough money. There's no
that makes
way.
sense. It's a boat ride out to an island.
Yeah. The way that this place is set up, I was like, it's 36,000 a plate. Something
Okay.
like that. Like this is, and then people who are there.
So why do you think they dumbed it down? Just bad writing?
I think that it was a believable number. I don't know if they dumbed it down. I just thought like, and I don't want to say like, I can't afford a $1,200 a plate dinner ever. But like, I just want to be like, there's no way that place was staying in business at $1,200 a plate. I don't think
That makes sense.
Look how many people fucking work
They
there.
live there. They live there.
Like, that's crazy. Think about how many plates in a month they can serve the way that they're running that operation.
Actually, that does seem really low now that you mention it.
Yeah,
I
that
didn't
was-
think about it.
Really, honestly, right away took me out of the movie.
Right.
That's how I am. Like in that
Especially
moment, I was like, whoa,
Are they
$1,200 a
leaving
plate.
from New York City?
Oh no, they're like in Milan or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I liked her immediately. I spent the whole first part of the movie not really worrying at all about what was about to happen. I was just trying to figure out what their relationship was, what happened to the person who was supposed to go with him.
Right.
And I loved that reveal. I really thought that he just like hired this girl because he didn't want, like, he wanted to have a date because that's what he was supposed to do. And he knew she was going to die. It was
Right.
kind of phenomenal.
When it was revealed that she was a call girl, is that the proper term, call girl?
Escort. I think that,
Escort's probably better.
yeah, more technically.
I thought that maybe they were all escorts. That was my first thought. Was it like the last one was too? That's just the name he had on hand. But obviously it was way weirder than that.
Oh, way weirder.
Like he's there to die.
Yes.
So he knows he's going to die. Hey man, spoiler, the chef kills everybody. And Nicholas Hoult knows he's gonna die, and he's excited about it.
I thought it was just good fun. Like I was having a blast up until really like the last 10 minutes. Like I love the whole burger. It was very Ratatouille. She like brought him back to his roots.
100%.
And I was like, all right, I'm there. When he makes the point that like all of these people could have left at any time.
Yep.
And then they just sit there and allow themselves to burn.
Yep.
I just don't really, I don't know. It didn't connect with me.
They all look at her like, you go. You go.
The one woman actually says it. She says like, she's just like, you have the chance, go.
You go on.
And he's like,
all our tales end here.
I don't really get the point of that. Like,
I hate that shit.
They're burning alive and not moving. I just
have
don't
you ever
really
been burned alive?
I've been burned.
It hurts.
Very much. It takes a lot of fortitude to not move.
Yeah, they used to have to tie people down for that.
to a stake.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought it was very fun until that moment. And then I was just kind of like, okay, I was just eye rolling.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I would have preferred chaos, I suppose.
Yeah. I had a hard time with a couple of things in that movie. One, I mean, I don't know. It's weird to have a hard time with it because the movie demands an outrageous level of suspension of disbelief. Like just the fact that this guy, Nicholas Hoult, wants to go there, and I forget his character's name, but he's going to go there knowing he's going to die. He's going to die at this dinner.
See, like a suicide like that, I could kind of understand.
Does he seem suicidal?
He seems unwell.
Okay.
And
in
like,
retrospect,
what's his breakup situation? Like he's obsessed. He's also obsessive.
Well, she broke up with him because he told her we're going to dinner to die.
Oh, he told her that.
I think that's that. I don't know that was verbally spoken, but I thought that was strongly implied.
Like, oh, you're not as into this as me?
Yeah, goodbye. Exactly. Like, obviously, we're going to go die. Obviously.
I can get to a point where I believe that this is the ultimate to him. There is nothing beyond this. He's had this experience. He's going out this way.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
We know there's no service at the island.
Oh, no cell service. Yes.
Nobody has cell service.
Right.
He knows he's going to die.
Yes.
Why is he taking pictures of the food?
Very good question.
You can't post them.
Maybe you think someone will find it and know he was there.
I think that's for you.
Yeah.
That's for the audience. That's a little misdirection that you're not supposed to think about.
I think he's also compulsive. Like he's just like obsessed. Like he is there. He is all in.
So this is like a thing for me, right? Like these aren't real characters.
No.
And that's like, for me, it's like, well, I don't know how to get invested in that as a viewer. Like for me personally, I guess some directors and writers pull it off in a way that's better than others for me. Or maybe it's just some scenarios, like, because I would also, but like, I don't know, like it's not, there's no reason for it. The reason is that the audience needs to see that to believe that this guy doesn't know he's going to die, so that you don't see that twist coming. That's why that's like that.
Well, and
but that character would never do that. It doesn't make any sense.
They're also just symbols of people that you despise. And so watching them get devoured is gratifying.
I didn't despise anybody there.
That was also a problem for me.
Yeah. Where was the oil tycoons?
The bros at the table, like,
sucked.
They sucked, but like, right, exactly. They just destroyed his career. He lost his joy in it. And these are the people, that's why he had them there. These were the people who took his joy the most.
Oh, I see. Yeah, I guess so.
And so he lured them all to this one specific event so he could kill them. But it wasn't even his idea to kill them.
Yeah, it was.
At some point, this waitress is like, the death was my idea and I'm very proud of it. And I'm like,
I don't think she was a waitress, but go on.
Oh no, she was you're right. She was a sous chef. But I found that kind of odd too. Like what was the finale? What was the other option to the finale here?
Him dying?
Sure. Or all of them and him. Yeah.
Not the crew.
Like, you stole this from me, so I'm going to traumatize you by killing myself in front of you.
Yeah, I don't know. It was a weird movie. It felt the more I think about it, the more it falls apart in my mind.
Right. I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah, like, it just feels like a bunch of disjointed, and I guess to some extent it is. There's title cards, right? But like, oh no, am I thinking of... No, there's title cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, the other one, Trinagle of Sadness, also has title cards.
When?
part 1, part 2, or book 1.
Oh,
book
yeah,
2,
yeah. This one was more like, here's the meal that you're having.
Right,
And
it's the
it breaks
menu.
down the recipe.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, the more I thought about it, the more I think about it, the more like it kind of falls apart.
I agree. I had fun the first time I watched it. I think if I watched it multiple times, I would start to be like, okay.
I would never watch this again. I just have no interest at all. I guess I had fun, but the fun was like, kind of like, where is that? Okay. Well, I mean, I remember did you think there was a twist? Somebody said there was a big twist. It's not going where you think it's going. And I was like, no, where I thought it was going.
Went exactly where I thought it was going.
Exactly.
Maybe that she's there by accident, but that from the get.
I didn't know from the beginning, but from
I
the
knew
boat,
something was off when, he tells you he brought her, and they're early on in whatever dating situation you're assuming that they're in.
Yeah.
And then when the woman asks her name and it's a different name, she has a pretty strong reaction to it.
Right.
So at that point, I was like, she's
weird.
the piece that's going to throw off or save everyone or whatever.
Or no one.
Yeah.
This is an awful thing to say, but Mrs. Had a Drink and I, when it was revealed that she was an escort, we were both just like, oh, well, that explains her outfit. Immediately. She was like there in her underwear, man.
Well, and did you catch the creepy conversation that was like the other guy in the room that she had been with before?
Yeah, no, catch. I mean, that was the old guy.
Yeah, and how she looked like his daughter. They make that very clear. The wife is like, oh, she looks like our daughter. It's pretty gross.
It is pretty gross.
So I don't know. As far as eat the rich movies go,
well, let's talk about her escape too.
Just the burger.
Yeah,
the ratatouille moment.
It wasn't that it warmed his heart. I don't think. I think it was that it became part of the menu. She put takeout on the menu, and he had to let her go.
Had to let her
because he kept saying it's all about the menu. It's all according to the menu. The menu.
Right.
The menu.
It was too much for her to finish.
And then once she said, "This is takeout," he was like, "I guess it is." You know?
I see.
That was my
brilliant.
read on it.
No, that's brilliant. I was more like she took him back to the thing he enjoyed about cooking.
I think that's also true.
And someone really enjoying the food and making something that he liked to make. But yes, I think that's great. I didn't even think about that.
This movie was just somebody really was mad that they didn't get to make Wicker Man.
I've never seen Wicker Man.
It's not necessary. It's a very strange film.
Is that with Nicolas Cage?
That's the remake.
Okay.
The original is also very weird. It has like musical sequences.
Wow. The structure of this one, well, I guess, okay, this is going to fall apart quickly. This one reminded me more of Society than Triangle of Sadness did.
Oh, yeah. Because it's just like, what weird shit's going to happen next?
And you're with the same characters the whole time. And it's like this group of people you're going forward with. And it's like, how is this going to get weird? And what it never did was like get weird. And Society, for people who aren't the two of us, is a movie that was made in the 1980s. What's the thing that happens at the end?
The
shunting. And so it's all these like creepy rich people, and at the end you realize that they sort of groom, I forget exactly, they groom someone into being shunted, which is basically like they like go into their skin.
They fuck them.
But they expand them. Their bodies get like engorged and they're like inside wearing their skin.
Slipping in and out of them.
Yes.
Sliding underneath them, through them. They're like all real, it's a weird flick. It's real weird.
But they also have like their bodies can contort as well.
They can slide around and stuff like that. Yeah, it's got the
very
butthead
odd.
scene.
They're like rich aliens or something.
Rich monster demons. I don't know.
So what's great about that movie is like when you get to the end and the weirdness of it, like it's grandiose in the way that they are rich and grandiose. It's a complete mind fuck. And this one, I got to the end and it like you said, it did exactly what I thought. Like,
yeah.
It didn't blow my mind. It didn't like make me cringe. Like that makes you feel a thing where you're just like, oh, no. Yep. And this one was just like, okay, they're just going to sit there and die, I guess. Yep. I don't know.
The other thing too is that like, I don't know, like in a good slasher flick, you got to compare this to like a horror movie, right? It's almost a slasher. Like he's just up there tormenting these people. People are dying. You know, it's like a slasher that doesn't move in a lot of ways. You either empathize with the victims and want to see them succeed, or you hate the victims and you love to see them die,
Yeah.
or you empathize with the killer or you hate you know what I mean? Like, this movie made me feel nothing.
None of that.
I was not
None of it.
invested in a single character. I was just like, so that happened.
Right. Yeah. This is just happening.
I felt nothing.
Yeah.
Are we just dead inside?
No, because on all of these Eat the Rich movie lists is Parasite, and that made me feel all of the things.
All of the things.
So no, we're not dead inside.
God, man, I still I get so upset about his daughter dying. It really freaks me out.
I need to rewatch that movie.
That movie, fucking painful movie.
Again, yeah, that was literally all of the things. There's a moment where you're in a horror movie, you're in a comedy, you're in every kind of movie, and you're there the whole time.
Film. We were also saying Eat the Rich was the train one.
Snowpiercer.
Very on the nose. I avoided it for a while because people said, "Oh, it's like a video game. You'll love it." And I was like, "That does not sound like a movie I want to see."
Well, and it's punk too, not cyberpunk, but it's.
Some people would call it diesel punk, I guess.
Yeah, that's how it was sold to me when I went to watch it.
Yeah, I mean, that movie was kind of fun. It was at least fun. The train one.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and there's a TV show.
Yeah,
I don't really know how they're going to make. It's several seasons in.
It's a prequel.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a prequel. It takes place like years earlier or something, I think. But it also doesn't interest me.
Yeah, it doesn't interest me either. I've got nothing else to say about that except for that it exists.
TV, and this is why TV sucks. For budgetary reasons, TV never wants to do things. They want to reduce all storylines into heads that talk.
I love TV.
I know. But TV is very good at making things into talking heads. And visual storytelling is not something that TV can do very well.
Yeah, but premium does more than that.
Nope. They just do very glossy soap operas.
I don't know. I feel like now that things are distilled to like 8 to 11 episodes, they move much more quickly.
Do they move without talking?
But that's like your thing. You don't want anyone to talk ever. I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with talking.
People talking.
The question is, what is moving? Like, what is the thing? Is it a visual storytelling medium or is it radio with pictures?
Maybe it is. Maybe it's more like that. But like, again, I like that television brings you that. I like that, like, you can spend time with characters and get to know them in a way that you can't in a movie. I'm okay with knowing things I don't need to know.
Yeah, I don't think that there's that much to people to know. Like, I don't need all that. They're not all that different. All these characters are kind of the same,
No, but like
there's like 8 characters. There's 8, and like I've met them.
7 storylines.
Yeah, there's like 8 people. I've met them. Yeah,
but like if something connects with you at a certain point in your life, or like Orphan Black is coming into my head for some reason.
Yeah, you like that show.
I like that show, and like just going off with the character Allison to do all of her community theater and stuff. It's fun. It's relatable for me. I think it's hilarious. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I guess it's not necessary for finding out why they are clones.
Yeah.
But I appreciate knowing Allison more. It certainly makes me care more about why she's a clone.
So that is like a tough thing for me sometimes is that a lot of TV and movies insist that I care about these people who don't exist.
Mm-hmm.
And like, they don't exist.
Right.
So
that's true.
I don't care about them.
That is the entry point.
I know.
So the whole time you're just like, you're not real.
You're not real. You're not real. That's like a thing for me. That's a real thing.
Really?
Oh no, that's not a joke. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never felt that way.
I feel it all the time.
Unless a character I just really can't connect with in any way.
Well, yeah. And I guess that's why I have such a, I mean, I don't know, maybe I know I'm weird, but like, that's probably why I have such a high standard, or high requirement. I wouldn't say standard because that sounds like I have a standard and you don't. But like why I need such high levels of like realism in performance and in characterization and in the way that people are written.
Well, and I'm perfectly fine with having low standards.
Yes.
Being easily entertained sometimes is just like the most wonderful thing to me.
Some directors can do it for me. Some directors, like I would say, like Cry Baby is a phenomenal film and the characters are cardboard cutouts.
John Waters' Crybaby.
Yeah, exactly. You know, they're just like ridiculous cartoons, which
Yeah.
is it's fun. I think that for me, a lot of the problem comes from the fact that like John Waters knows he's making a cartoon,
Right.
and he makes it fun. I think there's a lot of people who are making movies who think they're making a very serious film, but they're making a fucking cartoon and they have no idea. And it's like, I personally cannot invest more in this than you did writing it.
Well, and that's what stops me at the end of the menu from just loving the movie. I stop having fun and start just losing anything that I was hanging on, anything that I related to with the characters. It went away. And then I guess it's like kind of a good transition to Triangle of Sadness.
The Triangle of Sadness, which I guess is this thing.
Right. I
didn't know that.
It's your worry lines and all the
The Triangle of Sadness.
Right.
That was a weird movie.
It was.
Oh wait, should we do thumbs up or thumbs? Should we have a rating system like Siskel and Ebert?
We should. The menu. At one point, I was like, "Oh, the rating system would be how many drinks I needed to get through it, and the less drinks, the better."
Yeah, nah, I don't know about that. I've never needed. If I needed to drink something to get through a movie, I would just turn it off.
I'm being hyperbolic.
I know you are, but I can't suspend disbelief that way. I would just say it was okay.
It was okay.
It was okay.
It was okay to good.
God, man, I can think of so many better though,
Great.
like Everybody Dies movies.
Okay, what like
Green Room? Have you seen that?
no?
Oh, it's so good. Jeremy Saulnier. It's a movie about like a punk rock band that winds up playing at a white supremacist club, which is a thing that happens, and it goes very, very badly, and everybody dies. And there's a movie that really, the Jeremy Saulnier really inhabits my thing about dialogue. His people don't talk. There's no talking.
Mm-hmm.
There's exactly as much talking as a real person would need to get out of a conversation.
That's your sweet spot.
It is perfect. It is perfect. I don't think real people emote that much. You and I are talking a lot, but this is radio.
Oh, I talk all day to people all the time.
Yep.
I do a lot of talking. Well, but the movie isn't, you're not watching something in real time. You're watching the moments when people do talk and move things forward. It's not a documentary. You're not watching people sit at home until something happens. You're watching the moments when things are happening.
In some movies.
So I think in general, that's what,
I don't know. There's a lot of movies where time is pretty stuck together.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I mean, like, why? You think in the menu that's not the case?
I don't think there's too much talking in the menu, though.
No,
that was not,
actually, you're right. The menu doesn't have that.
Yeah,
problem.
that was not one of my sure, you're going from table to table and hearing conversations that would probably be happening all at once, but that's just, you can't tell a story without doing a bit of that.
Yeah. Triangle of Sadness. Back to that.
Yes.
What's the story on this one? Nominated for Best Picture?
Best Picture.
What else was nominated? Like, was it a low competition year?
Well, you'll love this. Top Gun was nominated.
Oh my God, Jesus. All right.
The movie that everyone's crediting with saving the industry and getting people back to the cinema.
Oh my God. Dude, I guess Tom Cruise just kills people. Like, Tom Cruise must just be that kind of powerful. Like, if you say anything negative about Tom Cruise, you will disappear. You will be killed. Is that the deal with him?
Well, I think that's kind of the deal with the Church of Scientology, but I think
but like actually kills people. That's my theory. He actually has people like that. Remember, what's his name? Like Jeremy Renner had that horrible plow accident.
Yes.
Maybe he said something privately about Tom Cruise. And then what was that guy years ago? It was awful. Anton Yeltsin or whatever his name is. He got backed over by his own truck.
Car.
Maybe he said something bad about Tom Cruise.
I think you're onto something.
I'm not joking about this.
This just became a true crime podcast.
I think that Tom Cruise murders people.
From what I've heard from like actual accounts of people that I know, so not firsthand accounts by me, secondhand accounts, but people I know who have been in a room with him, is that Tom Cruise thinks that the world is magic because if he thinks something, it just like arrives to him.
Yep.
The Church of Scientology has put him in such a bubble
of slaves.
Yes. Well, if they're paid workers, but I don't know if
Pennies.
those are all people who work for the Church of Scientology.
There's been like a lot of documentaries about this. They get paid like 60 cents an hour and stuff.
That's insane.
Yeah.
But
And they have to give all of their wealth to the church, and they live on church property. They're slaves.
I do think he thinks he's like sort of a god.
Yep.
Like he has an idea, and it is everyone around him tells him that it is the most wonderful, perfect thing that no one's like. He's just surrounded by people making him feel like a god.
It sucks that he's such a good actor and he's so entertaining, because I kind of boycott his movies, which does cut me out of a lot of good stuff. But like, yeah, I do hate that guy.
He has a quality for sure.
He's great. He made a lot of great movies.
Yeah.
But he sucks.
You think he's gay?
I don't think he's anything. I think
Yeah, sure.
I think he's some weird demon entity.
He's Tom Cruise asexual.
He's Tom Cruise. What was the other stuff that's nominated? Since we've just taken a giant dump on
Tom Cruise. Women Talking, which I haven't seen.
know nothing about it.
All Quiet on the Western Front, which I have not seen. Everything Everywhere All at Once.
I need to see it.
I adore it. The Banshees.
Haven't seen it. The Banshees of Inisherin. Yeah, I haven't seen that.
Triangle of Sadness.
Yeah, I saw that.
The Fablemans.
I haven't seen that.
Avatar: The Way of Water.
I have not seen that.
Elvis.
I have not seen that.
And Tar.
I have not seen that, but I've heard things.
Yeah, I saw Tar recently, but we'll save that for another conversation.
Things I heard were not great.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Triangle of Sadness is a fucking weird movie.
It is weird. And like, I went into it expecting that to be the most appealing thing about it, knowing that like, okay, let's get weird.
I knew nothing about that movie.
Yeah.
Nothing. From what I knew about it, I heard something about boat. And I knew that the title was Triangle of Sadness. I thought this was a movie about people set adrift in the Bermuda Triangle.
So I thought this was going to be a situation where The Menu and Triangle of Sadness were two movies that came out in the same year that were nearly identical.
Not really.
But they were. No, that is true. They're very different movies.
So Triangle of Sadness happens like in 3 books,
yes.
I would say. Book 1 seems honestly unrelated to the rest of the movie.
I think book 1 is just setting up like the sort of sadness of their lifestyles. Like you're rich, but like basically they have this fight about going to dinner. She makes more money than him because of status. He's supposed to pay. She feels awkward about it. And it ends in her basically saying, look, you're handsome and this looks good on Instagram. So like, we're going to date. He's like, I can make you love me. It's just kind of like, okay.
I felt bad for him there. I will say that, thinking about it in full circle, when he was screaming at her, I want us to be equals. Which watching it the first time, I was like, watching it through, I was like, that's weird. This is getting very heated. Like, where is this going? Where is this coming from? I guess that like, what he means is, I don't want you to be richer than me.
He wants to feel powerful in the relationship.
Yeah, and I hate that women who are models have more power than men who are models, which was also set up right from the beginning with that interview sequence that was very bizarre. Very bizarre.
The whole like happy brands are the poor brands, but that in itself is the whole setup of the movie. The poor people are happier, the rich people are miserable.
Well, the poor people weren't very happy.
No, they were not.
Yeah, they were pretty miserable.
But the poor people that are working on the boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is true. But it is like, that's where I thought we were going, was just like rich people show you these beautiful lives on Instagram and social media. But like, God, would you not want to be around any of them?
I really had no idea where a single thing in this movie was going, because I knew nothing about this movie. I was just like, I figured like, oh, book 1, dating. And then we got to book 2, the boat. And I was like, okay, it'll probably be about the same length as book 1. Nope. The whole movie's on the boat now. Like, we're just boat movie. Wow, this is long. I thought we'd be moving on. Boat, boaty, boat. Oh, and now we're on an island. Like, I was like, this is weird.
It was weird. It got so the boat. I thought we were going to go from land to the boat, and that was going to be the rest of the movie. I knew from marketing that there was like some weather on the boat and that people got sick. That's about what I knew. So that's what I expected after that happened. When we went into act 3, I was like, oh, am I in for a 10-minute tight
I
act?
know, yeah.
Or am I in for a third movie that like I actually, by the time I got there, just didn't want to watch?
It's not a good movie. It's an expensive movie. It's a pretty movie.
It's a movie that wants you to like it, and a movie that like feels like it has so much to say.
It feels like
It's
it was
so
built
smart.
to be non-criticizable.
Well,
Oh, you didn't get it.
Right.
You didn't get
that's
it.
that's what I mean
You
by
stupid simpleton. The
Yes.
movie is so much better than you.
that. That's exactly what I mean, though. It's like
You must like the happy brands.
it didn't really say anything that is not
Rich people
been
suck.
said better
Yeah.
or more interesting or
Yeah.
funnier. So the girl who plays the female model passed away like suddenly
Oh my
a
God.
couple of years ago. Yeah, so that was a big thing because she was an
I had no
upcoming
idea.
model and actress, and she has
Oh.
talent as both.
Yeah.
But I guess she had like a car accident that like destroyed one of her organs, which made her
Oh
much
my
more
God.
susceptible to an infection, and she happened to get that infection and
Oh my
died at
God.
32. So
Wow.
I do
That's
think
awful.
that everything was put on pause. It was put on pause because of the pandemic. It was this anticipated movie for
I
a
see.
really long time for a lot of different
Oh,
reasons.
wow. I see. Yeah.
So I just think there's a lot
Now,
built
Meredith,
around
I don't know if I can shit on this movie
it.
anymore.
You can shit on the movie.
I'm going to work. I'm working myself back up. Speaking of shit,
Jeez.
well, I think that the problem for me too is like it comes right back to the fact that like I really liked. Listen, I just wanted this movie to open with the puking and the shitting, and then end very soon thereafter.
She wanted a short.
I wanted a movie about people being very sick on a boat. That to me was the highlight of the film.
Getting dressed up, really fancy,
Unbelievable. Yeah.
eating expensive food, and
Also,
then just shitting it out.
heavy Monty Python reference that might have gone over your head there, actually, because I don't know if you're a Monty Python super fan or not.
Not a super fan.
Yeah. And, have you seen Meaning of Life?
No.
Oh, okay. There's a big climactic scene in Meaning of Life called the Mr. Creosote scene. And the boat is basically the Mr. Creosote scene writ large.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's a very intentional homage. I don't know, like the whole communist captain, capitalist shit dealer conversation. It felt like we had slipped out of reality. Like, and once we slip out of reality like that, I'm like, is any part of this movie reality? It seems like the whole movie's like a fever dream.
And I think it's supposed like the Woody Harrelson character in particular is outlandish and supposed to be outlandish.
So outlandish.
Yeah, he's over it all. That's why actually when they ended up in that room talking, I was like, I'm surprised this man has the energy for this.
Yeah.
He seemed like a leave me alone, I'm passing out after dinner sort of dude.
I kind of wonder too if like, because Woody Harrelson is the big name in this movie.
Yes.
I think we come back to Barbarian,
Mm.
where it's like, because that whole conversation and scene honestly does feel like kind of out of character for the rest of the movie. And it's long and it's big and it takes a long, long time and it's out of character and it makes you question the rest of the film's character. And I kind of wonder if it wasn't just Woody's here. He can do whatever he wants with the picture.
Mm. Or it seems like someone got into a Twitter fight and they really wanted to share it with the world. So they just built a movie around it.
That's beautiful. That's the thing I would do. I love that idea. If I could only make my Twitter fights more beautiful, more large.
How do I market this to millions
How
of
do I
people?
take this Twitter fight and make money on it? Yeah, that's what I want to do. So they're on the boat. A lot of things happen on the boat very slowly. My God, could this movie have been shorter?
Oh yeah. I if we put it on right now, I think we could probably get it down to a half an hour.
Oh, I'm sure of that.
Yeah, certainly.
I'm sure of that.
And still tell the whole movie.
I
Still
don't
hit
think-
all of the beats.
I don't think you need book one at all. We can meet these characters on the boat.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can do book one in 7 shots.
Yep. Yeah. It could be a montage.
It could be silent. Dinner, look, hand, car ride, looking out the windows
Instagram
away from
post.
each other.
Yeah.
Instagram, hotel room, boat.
Well, all you need is a shot of auditioning, her in a fashion show, him in the audience.
Yep.
That's
and being moved out of the audience.
Right. But that's where it is. Like, there's all of these jokes. There's these jokes about rich people, about fashion people that they wanted to make. And
Yeah.
they're not very funny.
Maybe they're very funny to the people who made the film.
That's what I mean, though. I think that is the case.
Maybe we're not cool enough to get the jokes.
Yeah, or it's like self-deprecating in a way, because
maybe.
people who make this film or enjoy this film, I think, probably really like these.
I assume
this world.
I assume that they are all the captain, the champagnest of champagne socialists.
We can laugh at ourselves.
Yeah. So we get this absolute gorgeous masterpiece, operatic heavy metal ballet of shitting and puking, and I mean like graphic.
Oh, toilets backing up. It is like the shit cruise that everyone hears about, the cruise that like the toilets backed up.
I mean, but what's the oligarch's wife?
The one that's hanging out with the main woman at some point.
The one who makes all the people go swimming.
Yes, right.
I got to give that lady credit, because she let herself be
right. Yeah.
really unattractive on camera. And I always love to see a woman who's willing to do that. An actress who is willing to be made exceedingly unattractive.
Well, and that was I thought that was going to be the climax.
You see poop come out of her butt.
Do you?
Oh, yeah. Huge geyser of diarrhea spraying out of her ass.
I just thought you saw it coming back out of the toilet.
Oh my God, no. Nope.
I guess, yeah, it was kind of a fever dream, because
I don't know
it
how they
happened
faked
so
that.
fast.
I don't know if they did.
Stood behind her. Where are angles?
This and need a hose or something. I don't know. It was just like a trumpet of liquid shit. Yeah, I loved it. That was when the movie felt like John Waters made it to me. I was on board.
Right. It was just going to get gross and weird and end. Yeah. But then we had to like have the beat where the boat gets pirated and pulled over, or pirated, and then the people who were the arms dealers catch the bomb that blows them up. And now we do jump into like full caricature mode.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it was very it's funny now that I'm thinking about it, with the Mr. Creosote reference. It does feel like a Terry Gilliam movie.
I could see
in
that.
a lot of ways. Yeah.
I forgot this, but so Rachel saw it without me. I wasn't with her when she saw it. She saw it in the theater.
Okay.
And she said she was in a movie theater where you like eat dinner. She was at Alamo Draft House. And it wasn't the like pooping and shitting. It was the movement of the scene. Like she had to stop eating because she said sitting in a theater where you're looking at just the screen, she like started to get seasick.
I can see that.
Which is it's cool. So if you're seeing it in a theater, you're already feeling weird, and then that happens.
Yep.
And so I could see the experience of that being something that people applaud, award, a reason that it was nominated and winning awards, because achieving that is difficult. Like
the immersion,
making people feel like sick, like physically ill watching your movie. I mean, it's an achievement for sure.
Something to aim for.
That's not a lot that do it. Everyone tries an imagery, but creating motion, like it's not easy.
Well, but it doesn't work on a smaller screen.
That is true.
I watched it on a laptop. I didn't get that.
Yeah.
But I did notice the trumpet of shit.
But like that kind of shock stuff isn't really going to affect people as much now. We've kind of seen it all. So adding the physical motion. I was dying
laughing. I thought it was fantastic. I was like, oh my God, thank God this movie's finally going places.
Yeah.
And then it stopped.
And it should have just stopped maybe. Like maybe they just wake up in the morning in their own shit, and that's the end of the movie. Or it doesn't. It just ends.
I will say, just going back, the arms dealers. I saw a lot of comments too where people were like, people online were like, I thought they were going to say they made voting machines, but then I found out they made weapons. And I was just like, is preserving democracy like a phrase people are unfamiliar with? Like it was very obvious from the minute they opened their mouths what they did for a living.
Absolutely.
But when the hand grenade came up, oh, it's one of ours, dear. It was for me like, okay, so this movie has abandoned it was Gilliam-esque. I mean, at
Yeah.
that point, we were just like in a may as well have been Time Bandits. It was a
Right.
farce world.
It could have ended there too.
That would have been a great ending.
Just the boat
Oh,
goes
it's
up.
one of Oz. I just want to point out that little hand grenade would never blow up that whole boat. Like
It only blew up the side of it.
yeah, I don't think you're gonna sink a boat with a hand grenade. But
Okay.
yeah,
Good to know.
Yeah.
I feel
not that size boat.
better about that. I don't really have much to say about the end of this movie. For a very silly reason, I could not accept anything that was happening.
Oh, what was that?
Because I've watched a lot of Naked and Afraid lately. Oh. And so when they were feeding like 7 of them very comfortably for what appeared to be at least a week.
Yeah.
No.
She was a very good fisher.
She was a good fisher, and but even that, like, there's a lot of good fishers. Fish doesn't cut it. You got to get other animals and forage other things.
You need some grains
for that many people.
Yeah.
It's just
need other things.
But then
okay, so it's not just me that has a suspension problem.
In this moment, that's why I said it's a silly reason, though. It's like I was too immersed in one thing that like I couldn't stop comparing the two. But then they did have like part of the ship that washed up on shore. Oh, yeah. So I suppose they had other
Well, there was a
supplies.
Seemingly infinite supply of pretzels because those 2 guys ate them all, but then there were still more.
That's right. Yes. So they had some grains then, I suppose.
So the one thing that Act 3 gives you that I think is worth pointing out is that you get that power inversion. Because in book 1, she has all the power in their relationship. And in book 3, he is the desirable one with all the power. And it freaks her the fuck out.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. And actually, neither of them have the power.
No, power wants them.
Right, exactly.
That's really what it is, yeah.
They've lost all power. He can be more comfortable because the person who has all of the power wants him.
Well, he has the status. She doesn't. And in book 1, she has the status. I guess status, maybe the film is supposed to teach us that status is merely a trinket bestowed upon us by those with real power. It's not a thing we have. It's a little sticker they put on your forehead and say, "Good boy.
Yes.
Here's your status." Ha
When everything goes away, so does that.
And then they find out that they're in a resort. And then I forget her name, but the fishing lady. Dolly DeLeon plays Abigail. She is fantastic. She decides to kill the other lady.
Maybe.
No, she killed her.
Yeah. I mean, presumably.
She killed her.
Killed her to keep her status on this island.
Yep.
But then they're going to get found out anyway. There's no way they don't. So she ends up killing her, and now she's going to end up in prison.
Oh, somewhere. I don't think she was doing it to keep her status. I just think she didn't want to leave.
That's what I mean.
Without killing this person.
No, I think she just wants to continue this like life she's leading where she is
maybe
the most respected person in the situation.
I think I mean, that's probably true too. Yeah, I'll give you that. I think, a little bit of A and B. Like she knows she can't continue it, but she'd rather, because like she knows.
But without a threat of them being found out, I don't think she kills her. You thought she was just taking her out there to
it's my last chance. This is coming down. I'm going to kill this bitch.
For fun.
She wasn't taking her out there to kill her, although I did think that.
Yeah.
I did think that was distinctly possible. But then Abigail was really bad at walking super far. I think Yaya did kind of like a lot of the physical parts of that walk for Abigail. And so Abigail became kind of dependent on Yaya during that big hike they went on.
Got it.
Because like Yaya, when they found the hotel, Yaya was like, she's in
We're
great
saved,
shape.
yeah.
She was like, I'm going into a sprint. And Abigail was like, I'm fucking dying, man.
Yeah.
And then that's when Abigail kills her.
And he's running through the grass at the end. That's the last shot of the movie.
It is. But they're so far away, I don't think it's because he heard Yaya die.
Oh, no, I don't think so either. My read on that was that whoever was selling the hats or something was continued to walk down the beach and ran into him. And so he went running after them to tell them that they're saved, basically.
It's either that or you're supposed to take away from it something like Lord of the Flies. That like,
right.
He's running through the jungle. They have descended into animaldom.
Sure.
They have become beasts, less than men. Something like that.
In their week that they've been there. Or they don't say how much time. It could have been a month. It could have been a couple of months. But I think some of the other guys had like hair growth that suggested it had been at least a month.
At least some weeks, yeah. Yeah, and you see them all like kind of becoming palsy. You know, all the dudes their status dissolves. The billionaire is pals with everybody else.
Right.
But he was always pretty easygoing.
He was.
The oligarch, awful person probably, but very easy to get along with.
Sure.
Fun guy. Nice
He's a good
guy.
salesman. He's a salesman. That's what he does.
He's a nice guy too. You know, like I don't think that like I think that he'd invite you over for a beer.
Yeah.
Even if you had nothing to offer him, you know?
So I think had the movie ended at the ship exploding, I probably would have watched it again. But because there's that third, it was just
so long.
One
of the things that was on my mind when I watched both these movies, and I don't know what order it all happened in, but like, you know, Shudder. Do you have Shudder?
Uh-huh.
You have it?
The like horror movie
subscription service?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So like, I'm always trying to watch stuff on Shudder. Shudder, if you're listening, your app is awful. You have the worst. I can't find anything I want to watch on there. It's a nightmare. But I finally went through and looked at every single title, and I made a list of the movies that seemed interesting to me. I was going through my list, and I was like, well, I've never seen Cannibal Holocaust. Now, this is a movie that like I was aware of when I was in high school because I had friends who were into horror. It's like one of the most transgressive, most fucked up movies of all time. That's all I knew about it. So I decided to watch it. I cannot recommend that anybody ever.
It's on Shudder?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
It was banned in something like 50 countries when it came out. And I can't recommend that anybody see this film. It is a emotionally damaging film.
You said there's real footage in it too.
So the two big things in it is that they kill, slaughter some animals on camera for real. And it's a lot of footage of it, and it's awful to watch. Like you have to look away. And also, so it's the story of this hot young team of documentarians who go into this part of the Amazon that no white people have ever been in before to make contact with these tribes. And they die. They're gone. And this anthropologist goes into the jungle to try to find them, doesn't find them, but finds their footage. And then the movie is him reviewing the footage.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, I want to point out, like, this is a dubbed Italian Mondo horror film, right? Like, I don't know if you know what that is, but like there's Gallo and Mondo, and it's just like shock horror. But like already this setup is actually like pretty interesting, right? Like the movie is about a guy reviewing footage. And what he's sitting with the editor who has taken their footage already and edited it into a broadcast for television documentary. And the editor's showing him, this is what I can't show my bosses. Like, this is the other footage. It's not in the edit. And he's trying to convince the network, you cannot broadcast this, is what the anthropologist is trying to tell them.
The footage that...
Any part of the documentary.
Oh, at all.
These people are monsters who made this for you. And if you want nothing to do with them, I want nothing to do with them. And it does flip that script, right? Like, you get the sense that these are like, in standard horror trope, right? Like, these are hot young kids going into the jungle. They think they're the shit, and they're going to bite off more than they can chew. But in reality, they are nightmare monsters, and as soon as they're outside of sight of civilization, revert into like demon humans who are just doing the most horrifying, fucked up shit because they see everybody around them, these indigenous people, as being less than human.
Mm-hmm.
And so one of the things in the film is their previous documentary that they had made called like Hell's Highway, and it's just footage, like, you know, licensed and found footage of actual executions.
Just like snuff films.
It's just like, oh, the Nazis lined up 30 people and shot them in the head, and here's footage of it, you know, like that they filmed. And it's like real, you know, it's not like staged.
Is it like playing the line of the world needs to know that these things happen, but the people who are going to watch this are the people who just want to see shit burn?
The documentarians in it, these hot young kids, that's what their line is, that the world needs to know this happens. But their motivation is, when you meet them, that like, this is what people want to see.
Right.
We're fucking awful. So,
well, this is the whole question when you release videos of police brutality online.
Yes.
Are you feeding into people just like to see the violence, or are you informing people that do people need to see this to know that it's bad?
Yeah, I agree. The only reason I'm bringing it up now, though, is because I happen to see it around the same time. And again, I do not recommend anybody see this film. Do not watch it. Don't watch Cannibal Holocaust. Don't do it.
You realize this is like telling a kid, like, don't laugh, don't you smile.
I'm
don't
warning you now.
Laugh.
It will hurt you. You will need therapy. It will fuck you up. I'm not joking. And the reason I want to bring this up is because, however, I do see a lot of people say, oh, it's just a stupid movie. It's a very mediocre film. It's a shock value film. I don't think that's true. I think it might be a better film than the creators who made it. Like, it was just some moment of inspiration. I think it's a fucking amazing film because I've never had a movie genuinely affect me way deep down in my lizard brain, slip right past my amygdala, and tickle nerves that I didn't even know were there as far as making me hate humanity. Because that's what this movie's about. Like, if you think about it, but that's why I'm comparing it, because like Triangle of Sadness and then The Menu, it's about fuck people. We are gross. We are awful. This movie really hits that in a way that you don't know can be hit.
But do you think that's only hittable with like real footage?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think that the reason it does that is because you have a mental preparation that you go through when you go to see a piece of fiction. You know what to expect. It's fiction. These are actors. These are people reading a script. You have a different level of preparation when you go to see a documentary, because you know that the documentary is going to present me. You know, you go watch, I'm trying to think of some examples, but like a World War II documentary, you know, you're going to be confronted with some fucked up imagery. You have that preparation. You know, these are going to be real events. You have that preparation. You know that you are going to see disturbing images, but you also know that the documentary is going to present them to you in a non-sensationalistic way, in a way with historical reverence. And you don't think about this, right? Like, this is all stuff that just like your brain clicks into one or the other without you realizing it, right? This movie, your brain, horror film. I know what a horror film is. Mm-hmm. And then shows you some of the most horrifying, and I don't mean horrifying, I mean like truly depraved. The actors and the director recorded themselves doing truly fucked up, depraved shit. And in a way that it's a documentary at that point, but you're not set up for that. Your brain is set up for a horror film. And so it goes right past all of that. And I would call this a terror film. I think that this is a genre of cinema that goes beyond horror film. It's a terror film. It's actually something you can't see. It hurts you to see it.
Usually I would run off and like go watch it, but I think I'm going to heed your advice on this one.
No, man, it's really like they kill this turtle in it, and it's watching this turtle struggle to live is like one of the most haunting images I've ever seen in my life. It's fucking insane.
So what you're saying, I guess, is that none of these movies tapped any of that feeling of...
Nothing comes close.
Yeah. Well, nothing's going to come close. But while you've been talking about this, I've been thinking like both of these movies, because I have a list of other Eat the Rich movies, ones that I wouldn't have even thought of as Eat the Rich movies last year. And like Knives Out stands out to me.
Really?
But because she ends up with all the money. Does she end up with the money? But that's the intention, right? And she watches this family like destroy themselves.
Yeah, I guess so.
And she ends up with all of their money. That's so much more satisfying for me than any of these films, right? And it's not that you hate these people. It's not that they're awful. Some of them are funny. Some of them like they're awful in ways that everybody has awful people in their family. But like, it's so satisfying to just see them lose the thing that they're all really wanting. They're all pretending to like each other or to be a family, and they're all doing it for the money and they don't get it. And like these movies, while making fun of rich people, like didn't leave me nearly as satisfied as that movie leaves me.
Not only are they not satisfying, like you were saying, they're also not very, there's other movies that do this exact same thing more effectively.
Right. I don't find them very thought-provoking either.
Not thought-provoking. Rich people bad, which I agree with. Just like, or should I say, I don't know, like society bullshit. Rich,
sure.
Billionaires bad. Like, got it. Right. I agree.
Yes.
You know, like I don't need to be convinced.
But also, have you seen Us?
I have seen Us.
Yeah, Us. I didn't love the ending of that movie.
The movie was fucking weird.
Also considered an Eat the Rich movie, which I guess makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not so much eat the rich as eat the privileged.
I think Us is saying things that I am not equipped to hear. That's what I think. I think Us is about stuff that I do not get. And I'm okay with that. But, you know, I think that it's about something that probably Black people experience culturally or socially that I
Sure.
don't get. Like that's what what the us is there, but also that,
Yeah. I was kind of surprised to see it on the Eat the Rich list until I thought about it, and I was like, it fits.
What is that? The whole list? Hustlers. I have not seen. Is that good?
I haven't seen it.
I assumed you have. I have not seen The Purge. I have seen Knives Out. I think it's a stretch to call it an Eat the Rich movie. Joker. Ugh. Snowpiercer we talked about. The Hunt. That movie did not do well.
And Parasite.
Which
we could do a whole episode on Parasite, probably. Yeah. I do think Society, which we watched, which we didn't cover because we decided it was too obscure, of the 3 Eat the Rich movies I have watched this year, by far my favorite. Because I felt the things at the end, like...
Oh, yeah. Very satisfying.
Yeah. Also, hugely satisfying.
Very weird.
And it's not about the weird. Like, if it was about the weird, then I would have loved Triangle of Sadness. But
the weird is fun.
The weird is fun, but there's something about that movie that you can connect with as the characters that are sort of not the rich.
Yeah.
And I just don't connect with that. I guess in Triangle of Sadness, she quickly turns into them as soon as she has the power.
She was the toilet captain.
So it's sort of like a power will corrupt everybody, sort of.
Yeah, power corrupts everybody.
And then the menu is just like...
Revenge?
I guess if you're rich, you have no desire to live anymore.
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that was. Why did they not try to get out of there? It was really weird.
I thought at first it was like they didn't try and break free because they were so convinced that something would save them. This isn't something that happens to them. But then when they're lit on fire, I would have expected some sort of reaction.
Yeah, it hurts. As I said, it's very bad to be set on fire.
If you could have a perfect Eat the Rich movie, what would it be?
Are you asking for a real movie or you want me to write one?
No, don't write one. It's going to take forever. But of movies in this genre, that we've talked about, which one is most satisfying for you?
Goonies. They get all the money at the end and they eat the rich. It happens. I don't know. That's a cool movie. That's my Eat the Rich pick. Goonies.
There you go. We peaked at the Goonies.
Goonies is a great movie. It's a perfect film. Holds up.
Yeah. I think of the ones we talked about, Knives Out would be. I like silly. I like theater. Knives Out feels like theater. Feels like a Agatha Christie play.
Well, very much. Yeah. It is.
It's fun. It's funny.
I love Knives Out.
You can just have a good time. You can go deeper if you want. It's all there for you.
Anyway, guys, thank you so much. This has been Midnight Local. You will find this, or maybe you already have, at youtube.com/Midnight Local. You'll find it on Stitcher, Apple Podcasts, Spotify.
Wherever you get your podcasts.
And we'll see you next time at Midnight Local.